Welcome to Inside F&M Wrestling. I'm Brad Weltmer here with F&M head wrestling coach Mike Rogers. Mike, thanks for sitting down here with us today.
Yep, no problem. Thanks.
So we've got a lot to talk about. Your team took place in 3 events since the last time we spoke. Let's go back to right before New Year's when you guys sent Andrew Morano and Rick Durso out to Northwestern to compete the Midlands, while the rest of your team went out to Lock Haven to take part in the Cradle Gear Invitational. So your wrestlers faced some pretty good competition in both those events and ended up finding some success.
Yeah, the Midlands was a great experience for our guys. We brought Rick out there and Andrew Morano, and one of the reasons why, especially for Rick, I wanted him to see some of the Big Ten competition. We don't see a lot of those Big Ten guys on the East Coast. You know, the Iowas, the Wisconsins, those teams. So it was great for him to go out there and get that experience and kind of get exposed to those different style of wrestling. You know, Big Ten kind of has a different style of wrestling, and it was good for him, and he did a great job. He lost twice. The same kid, the kid from Iowa. The first match he lost was in the quarters. It was 1-1, 30 seconds left. Rick had to go for a takedown to go ahead takedown, and it was one of those situations they kind of teetered, and the Iowa kid ended up on top of the scramble, ended up losing 6-1 or with the 5-point move at the end with 30 seconds. So that match looked on paper looked a lot worse than the actual situation. Comes back through, wrestles some tough matches, and that's what we wanted him to experience. If he did take a loss in that tournament, I wanted him to have to come back and wrestle some tough kids to continue to place in the tournament, and that's what happened in the NCAA tournament last year. Took a loss in the quarters. Had to come back through and didn't really wrestle really good coming back through the consolation. So it was a good kind of test run or trial run, if you will, for the NCAA tournament. He came back and wrestled Java, the Iowa kid, again for third and fourth. And another good match. It came down to one takedown, one scramble in the end of the second period. Iowa kid came on top of the scramble, ended up 3-0 going into the third period. Rick gets out, and the score ends 3-1, but Rick was on 2 or 3 different shots that he wasn't on the first time. And Rick's one of those guys that he'll continue to get better every time he wrestles somebody. So if we see him again if we see Iowa again at the NCAA tournament, I think he'll figure him out. And Andrew Morano did a great job too. It was a great experience for him. I don't think he's really been in a major tournament like that. So to put him in there in that stressful environment with all those big name schools to kind of be able to deal with what I call the competition stress was a really good experience for him, and was a little shaky his first match. But he came back and beat some really good kids. Beat a tough Rider kid, beat the Purdue kid, won an overtime match against a Harvard kid that's in our conference, which was really good for him to kind of not only get a win, but a win over a conference team. And team-wise, we did really well. I mean, we took 2 guys. We finished ahead of a lot of good teams. We finished ahead of Princeton and Harvard. And they brought the whole squad. So it was a good experience for those 2 guys, and like you mentioned, we sent the rest of the guys out to the Lock Haven tournament, which was again a good competition for the rest of the squad to experience. And that tournament, who really kind of came through and showed some really good advancement or good promise was Alex Henry. Our heavyweight ended up taking third, won some good matches, and had to win some close ones too. So it was good. I think that's the highest he's placed in the tournament outside of the Ursinus tournament. I think he ended up winning, take second there. But a good Division I tournament. He had to wrestle some tough guys to finish in the top 3. It was a long day for all the team, and some of the other guys, Bing and King, were really close to placing. So it was a good way to come back. It's a tough because we were coming off a break, coming right off of finals, and then I give them that time off. We came back and really we trained for about a week, not even before they had the guy we head out to Chicago and the other teams went out to Lock Haven. So it was a good way to come back and kind of get the gears rolling and get back into action.
And then that Friday, you guys returned home for the second annual F&M Open to cap off a really busy week for you and your staff. So just talk a little bit about that event, how that went.
The F&M Open has really taken off. Last year we ended up having, I think, 250 athletes. This year we're we almost got to 400, almost doubled the size of the tournament in 1 year. So I think that's going to be a very nice established tournament that's going to only grow in not only in size but also in the caliber of competition. We had a variety of teams from Penn State to we had teams from Oklahoma and all up down the East Coast, Cornell, Princeton, Lehigh. But it takes a lot of work. I don't think some people, if they haven't put on an event, to get the gym set up and get the mat set up. Track did a great job of helping us get the system up and running. It was a wireless tournament, so there was all the bouts were run really efficiently. Overall, the day went really smooth. It went from we think we started wrestling at 9 o'clock. We had 385 wrestlers, and we were done by 6 o'clock, and ran 10 mats. And it was great. The only thing that we, starting off, we were really lacking on some volunteer help. And I have to give my parents, even my wrestlers that were competing had to jump on some tables and run table help. And even Dr. Carl Becker and his family came to watch, and I recruited them out of the stands. And not only did Dr. Becker and his wife and his 2 daughters help us out to get the tournament up and running, and without the help of our parents and our fans that we kind of had to recruit to get on the tables to get the tournament up and running, it wouldn't have been as successful as it was. But competition-wise, it was a good experience for our guys. It was a great tournament to have in-house, in your own backyard, and kind of give them that, again, another tough tournament to work through. And the guy who really stood out there was Colin Geronda. Did a great job for us. He'll be back in action hopefully really soon. He's finishing up, coming off his first semester. Hasn't really competed for us officially yet, but ended up placing top 6 in the tournament and wrestled some really good kids. And all our other guys, they won. I think everyone won a couple matches, and there were some guys getting get deep into the placement round. Jason Bing showed some really good promise. Made some adjustments late in the tournament. We sat some guys. We didn't wrestle Rick. Coming off of Midlands, he had to wrestle some, come back and win some matches in overtime, and so he was a little, I wouldn't say injured, but just sore. So we kind of sat him and a couple other guys that really had some were a little dinged up from the 2 tournaments. So it was a great day overall, and I think that tournament's going to just grow in popularity and notoriety, and really give F&M a nice kind of identity in the wrestling world for wrestling, to have a really solid tournament like that here in our facility with the variety of teams that we bring in.
And then this upcoming Friday, you welcome Sacred Heart to town for just your second home duel of the season. And so last year you faced off against them in Fairfield, came away with a 46-6 win. What are you expecting out of your team this time around?
I think it's going to be different. The Sacred Heart is really they put in a lot of money and resources in their program. They brought in, I think, 20 guys last year. They already got up to 10 or 15 guys already this year, and they got a new AD that's really supporting the program, putting resources and back in the program. So they're a tough program. They're a lot tougher than they've been when we wrestled the last couple of years. So, but I think it's a match. I have us on paper favored, but that can go a lot of different ways. There's a lot of close matches, especially in the middle upper weights, that could determine the outcome of the dual meet. So if we do our job from top to bottom and everyone shows up and wrestles on this on the same page at the same time, and that's been our kind of our Achilles heels. We get a couple guys on track, and then 2 guys fall off, and then we get those other 2 back on track, and then 3 fall off. So if we can get everyone on the same track, I think everyone's healthy. We had last weekend off, so everyone's fresh as much as they can be at this part of the season. Everyone's a little bit dinged up, but I think we're as fresh as we can be. But if we go out there with our heads on right and be aggressive, I think we'll be okay, and it should be a very positive outcome for us. And I know a lot of people have been kind of wanting us to wrestle some home matches. We haven't been home since Army in terms of dual meet, but we just had a lot of conflicts with trying to get home matches. But we have a lot of we're finishing up at home with January, February. We have most of our matches, majority of our matches are at home. So we're hopefully kicking off this one at Friday. Would be a nice solid way to kind of get the dual meet season up and running.
And then over the weekend, you head across town to Millersville. So you have the MidPen duels on Saturday before taking part in the Millersville Open on Sunday. So what's the plan for your team over the weekend at Millersville?
Yeah, it's going to be really busy. Saturday, so we wrestle for Sacred Heart on Friday, and then we'll head across town, weigh in again, and wrestle the MidPen duels on Saturday morning. We start off with York. I don't know how they drew those. We were in the finals with each other last year, and we hit each other first round. But York's a really tough team, so it'll be a challenge right off the bat. So, but really, those are just good experiences. All those teams are teams that we can compete with, dual meet wise. But we're just looking for performances, guys kind of doing the things that we've been working on over break. We've had a lot of time, a lot of 2-a-day workouts, a lot of individual time to work with guys. So we're really just looking to fix our mistakes that we were having first semester as a team and also individually. And now it's a kind of implementing those corrections and implementing those coaching strategies into the next part of this phase of wrestling, getting into March. And that's really everything, just what we call the dress rehearsal for March and getting everyone out there for the conference and competing there. But and then the guys don't get a lot, depends on how the dual meet falls, and some guys might not be getting a lot of time in the dual meet. So we'll send some guys to the Millersville Open. We won't send the whole squad because that's a 3-day back-to-back situation. So it's nice that it's close, that we can send maybe a handful of guys to Millersville that may to get a couple more matches or need to get some more experience for our younger guys. And then from there, it takes off, then from there, I think every weekend we have something going on. So the rest of the, next 2 months are really just preparing for competition, competing, recovering, preparing for competition, recovering, and making adjustments along the way.
All right. Well, we appreciate having you sit down with us here today.
Oh, thank you, and hopefully everyone can check us out. It's match is going to be broadcast live on GoDips, and so hopefully everyone can check that out if they can't make it to the match on Friday, 7 o'clock.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, the Sacred Heart duel coming up this Friday is going to be on GoDiplomats.com/live. And thanks for tuning in here with us today. Be sure to like F&M Wrestling on Facebook, follow them on Twitter, and subscribe to the GoDiplomats YouTube page.